Hello friends, this is Brad Apple. I hope everyone's doing well out there. I wanted to share a story with you today, or a few stories actually, from the Bela Fleck Drive album. I know a lot of you have this album right here, and according to the liner notes, this album was recorded during the final part of 1987. And it has just the master's list of musicians on this recording here. Of course, besides Bela Fleck, we have Sam Bush on the mandolin, Jerry Douglas on the dobro, Stuart Duncan on the fiddle, Mark O'Connor on fiddle, Tony Rice on guitar, Mark Schatz on bass, and Peter Rowan even makes an appearance as the mystery cosmic legendary vocal. So it's a really great recording. This album was recorded by Bill Vorndick at the Sound Emporium, and it was mastered by Denny Purcell at Georgetown Mastering. So, even the recording credits there is just an all-star who's who of who did what on this record here. And to me, this record right here, I would classify it, if I had to make a list, I would classify this recording right here as one of the all-time greatest instrumental recordings ever made right here. Now, I love the follow-up to this recording right here also that come out in 1999 called the Bluegrass Sessions. And it featured a lot of the same personnel, of course, added a few more. But to me, I don't know, the Drive record just had a certain energy about it that just still to this day just is incredible. And most of the information I'm going to share with you today comes from reading this book here, Still Inside, the Tony Rice story. And it's written by Tim Stafford and Caroline Wright. If you don't have a copy of this book, I would highly recommend it. I'm not affiliated with Tim Stafford or Caroline Wright in any way. I don't get any kickback off this, but you should definitely read this book right here. It has a lot of great information about Tony's life, and a lot of it's in Tony's own words and the words of his friends also. And that's where I get a lot of what I'm going to tell you today about the Drive album. As many of you know that's ever tried to figure out any of the music that's on the Drive album, it's incredibly complex. A lot of it is anyway. We have Whitewater, stuff today that's kind of done a lot by different bands out there. Whitewater being one of the main ones. There's Slipstream, Up and Around the Bend, Natchez Trace, I love that tune. Sea Rock City, The Legend, The Lights of Home, Sanctuary, that's a great tune right there. But yeah, just incredible stuff on this album, and it's incredibly complex. And I wanted to share with you here, Tony, in his book, he talks about the Drive album and when they were making the Drive album, and he talks about that it was incredibly complex, and he said it was very difficult for him. And the funny thing is that the other musicians on the recording had all rehearsed this material beforehand. I guess Bela and the other guys had gotten together and ran through a lot of this material. According to the book, Tony wasn't available until the day before the sessions were to begin. So he was really unrehearsed on a lot of this stuff. The book does say, Bela Fleck does say that he finally talked Tony into letting him come over to his hotel room and show him a few of the tunes. But Bela also said that Tony caught on to him so fast that it was almost unnecessary to even go through the tunes they went through because he got them so fast. So the day of the session, according to Bela Fleck's words in this book here, they're all at the studio, but Tony, he didn't show up. So Sam Bush went over to Tony's hotel room and got him, brought him over there, and then it was showtime, of course. So they started recording. The first song they recorded on the Drive album was the tune Whitewater, and I think they ended up keeping the first take on that, if I'm correct. I believe that's what the book says. They did a few takes of it, but the first take they did just had an energy about it that they all agreed on, that, you know, that's the one we need to keep right there as the first take. Another story from Tony's book about the Drive album is from Mark O'Connor's words. He's quoted in the book talking about the song Sanctuary, and as you know, that's an incredible tune if you've listened to it. But Mark O'Connor says that his fiddle solo was the first take from beginning to end. So they get to the end of it, and Bela Fleck says, okay, let's go to the beginning and do the violin solo from the start again. And Mark O'Connor's like, what? You know? And he said Tony backed him up on that, said, hey, man, I don't think you want to go over that solo. That's it right there, you know? So I thought that was an interesting story. I'm glad they didn't go over it, because really I don't know that it could get any more incredible than O'Connor's first break on that song right there. But the main fact that I wanted to make this video about, and it's really not a surprise, but, you know, somebody can be so good on an instrument like Tony to do the stuff on this album right here practically unrehearsed. I mean, basically, he just hit it off the cuff the day of the session, basically, on most of this stuff here, and that's just incredible. Listen to the album, and if you don't believe it, you listen to it and you give me your thoughts down below. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. And like I say, if you haven't read this book right here, you definitely need to pick up a copy and get that, as well as the Drive album. I'm sure most of you have heard this. Probably one of your favorite records, like it is mine. But let me know what you think below about this album, and especially about the fact that Tony was really unrehearsed on most of this stuff. He just hit it off the cuff. I think it's incredible. I mean, it's not surprising, knowing Tony Rice, the incredible talent that he was. But then again, it is pretty mind-blowing too. So anyway, friends, have a good one. If you haven't, please subscribe, like the channel, share it out there with folks. I'd appreciate that. I'll catch you next time around. Much obliged to you.